Om Ajnanantimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurumilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha.
Thank you. I would love to hear you share the story of the cafe on the cliff.
Sure. So the cafe on the cliff for me is the macrocosm of what's currently happening on the spiritual environment, where you have many people that have sort of taken the hike to the top of the cliff. And this cliff represents the spiritual path, right? So they're not anymore, let's say, very much in material reality. They want to change. They want to look at themselves. So they've done various things to work on themselves, right? So they've made it to the top of the cliff. But to fully live a life of unconditional love, when you get to the top, you have to be willing to take a jump into the unknown. And so what I notice a lot of times is that we make all of this effort. We go to retreats, we do pilgrimages, we do events, we do ayahuasca ceremonies, and we get to the top, and at that point we're asked to jump. But when we look down and see where we have to go, it's an unknown. It requires complete surrender. So at that point, when you get to the top, you say, you know what? Before I jump, I've done all of this effort. Let me just quickly have a chai. So I drink the chai and I tell myself, you know what? I'm going to jump. I'm going to take that last step, I promise. Right? The next thing you know, you're like, you know what? I'm really hungry. So let me have a croissant. So I drink a chai, I eat a croissant. I say, I'll do it. And of course, it's hot. And so you're like, I need to sit down. So I build a table, a very nice, comfortable table, a very, very nice chair. And I'm just like, I need a little bit of rest. So I sit there, and then I see other people getting to the edge. And they also look down. And then they look at me. And I say to them, you know what? Before you jump, would you like to come and, well, it's funny, could you like to come and share some tea? I'm like, yeah, that sounds good. So then they come, they sit down with me, we drink our chai, we eat our croissants, and we speak about how we're going to jump off. And we're going to have long conversations about how we're going to take the leap, how we're going to jump into the unknown, but never actually doing. And the next thing you know, many other people come, and then we built this entire cafe on the cliff where we all sit there eating our croissants, drinking our chai, talking about all of the things that we're doing on the spiritual journey, but nobody actually ever going deeper and jumping off of the cliff. And so I would say that's what we see a lot in New Age spirituality, is that people have done the work, right? They've gone to the retreats, they've done these things, but then there's a moment where that final step we're not willing to take. And then we convince ourselves that, you know what, it's okay to be at the edge. So unless you really have a really good sangha or community, which is what's being fostered with Namuna, is that you're always going to just stay there and you're going to stagnate on the spiritual journey. But with the right sangha and community, you can have leaders and teachers that can gently take the tea from your hand, remove the croissant, and then with holding your hand, jump. And without that, it's very, very difficult.
It's this analogy has driven our entire time together with all 50 people here. It's so accurate of what's happening.
Yeah.
I'm there.
Yeah.
I spent a year studying surrender, studying. You know, it's like, how do you even surrender?
Yeah. Yeah. I think surrender comes with the sincerity of really wanting to change. Because you did this beautiful article where you spoke about, certain what would you call it? Like
Psychedelics.
psychedelics.
Yeah,
Okay, whatever.
psychedelic use as a
Yeah,
means as a practice.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot of times, what happens is that we get to a state where we do these beautiful things because they're not bad things; they're nice. But then we're just content with chasing that high and not really wanting to go deeper. So it's just a condition of actually most of us not really wanting to change. Because if you really want to change, then there will be this clarity like, wait a second, I got to figure this out. I got to figure out how to jump. And that's the first step. Because after we spoke, many people came to me and they're like, I think I'm on the edge of the cliff. Like,
I think everyone.
like, what do I do to jump? And just that sincerity of wanting to change is what will allow you to jump. But if you're like, you know what, forget what Swami's saying. I've jumped many years ago.
I jumped 400 times last year. You're like,
Exactly.
I jumped with all the gurus. I jumped with this.
Exactly.
I hear that all the time. It's like,
Exactly.
it's fascinating. I'm perpetually concerned that I've left a rope tethered to the dock,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm perpetually trying to throw it off.
Yes.
So
yes.
I think that's my version of surrendering and jumping. I just don't
Yeah.
know how. So it's fun. It's been fun to spend time with you and to learn the subtleties at which the jump occurs. And
Yeah, I would say, just very three simple things that we can do to ensure that we're at least making an effort to jump. Because it's not an easy thing, right? It's not an easy thing to jump. It requires letting go of all limitations that stops us from loving. So, but there's three things that we can strive for which can help us. And that first is called Seva. They all start with S, which is selfless service. So every once in a while, try and do some service in the world where you don't expect anything in return, monetary or emotional. Right? And that helps us to disengage from the ego. Then the next is sadhana. So a daily spiritual practice that we can do to help us to connect to love. Because many people, they'll go on retreats and do various things, but they won't have a daily practice that they anchor to. So a daily spiritual practice that connects you to love. And the last is Sangha. So Sangha is community. You have to build a community that share the same values and principles. And that's what, actually for me, that's the most important.
well, when you're all doing it together, it doesn't feel like you're jumping.
Yeah. No, it doesn't because you're holding hands, right? Sometimes when you go into the cold ocean or whatever, you're like, just grab somebody's hand and then you have much more strength to move forward.
It's another phenomenal analogy.
Because you never want to jump into the cold ocean by yourself.
No,
But when you have
go
like
with you.
15 people holding hands, you're like, okay, let's do it. And you don't want to be the guy that's gonna bring everybody else back. So you move forward. And so I think that's why I really enjoy Namuna is that it's a sincere sangha. Right? It's a sincere sangha that's trying our best to grow in love. And that's the most important thing. If that is there, everything else can work. But if we're saying something and we're doing something else, then it's never going to work. And that's what I really see with both of you is just that sincerity. You know what? Let's bring a good group of people together and let's try our best to move forward in love. And yeah, that's love. And rare, very, very rare.
Well, thanks for showing up and being part of it.
Of course.
You bring a lot to our community and me and Elise. Talk about you when you're not here a lot.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah, thank you.